Welcome to Fantasy NBA Tonight. I, in a strange turn of events, am your host tonight, Jake Cousins. And joining me for at least the foreseeable future, the one and only Vince Miracle at VM Center on all social media platforms. How are you, Vince?
Not as good as if I was gazing into the abyss, but I'm all right. I feel pretty bad. Like if you guys listened to Monday morning show today, I wasn't feeling all that hot this morning, and it's carried over a little bit into tonight. But I'm getting there. I'm getting a little bit better. How about yourself? How do you feel in the hosting chair tonight?
Well, man, it's a new experience. I won't lie to you. A little nervous. I said this in pre-production, but Vince is a much more charismatic and charming human being than I am. So you're stuck with me, sort of bumbling my way through the hosting duties tonight. But we'll get through it. I'm doing all right.
Man, I mean, the cool thing is that we're free tonight, so that's pretty cool. And then, the fantasy basketball questions, but I think that the one thing that is for sure, and those who are wondering why we're free, it's Cyber Monday, man. Did you do any deals for Black Friday or for Cyber Monday?
I didn't do anything for Cyber Monday, but I did what I always do is with my wife go to like the local Target or Best Buy or whatever and just hunt for DVD deals. So no big purchases this Friday, but we went out for a little bit.
Top five DVDs you own right now. Your favorite
of all
movies
time? Oh man, that's so tough off the
that you
spot.
own right now.
All right, top five. The Master is probably my favorite movie. I like Seven Psychopaths a lot.
That's a good one.
Major League is just a random baseball one, even though I'm not a huge baseball guy. Let's stick with that for a quick top three. What about you, Vince? Hit me back if you're gonna put me on the spot.
Favorite movies or favorite movie I own?
Let's do that you own for now.
Favorite movie that I own will probably be He Got Game. I watch it probably like a lot. And the best part is they just put it on Netflix, so I don't necessarily need to own it, but I love He Got Game. It's one of my favorite basketball movies of all time. Favorite movie of all time? It's so hard because I can fall in love with like many different movies. Every time I can watch Inception like all day long. I love that movie. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's an amazing actor. And Wolf of Wall Street. I think Wolf of Wall Street is pretty one amazing movie that I can watch over and over and over again. Especially since like a lot of my life I did sales, so I think that was kind of like an interesting thing. I noticed here that Jake had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy NBA Tonight, a hoop-ball.com presentation. Your host, Jake Cousins, here is having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'm going to take over and just remind everyone that this is a hoop-ball presentation. And what we like to do here on Fantasy NBA Tonight is answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. Now, how do you get your question answered live here on the show? All you have to do is go down in the bottom, go on that live chat, type in your question, and hit that thumbs up button on this video so that we know that you guys liked and enjoyed this video while we're here doing it. And we love getting in the mix with you guys and, letting you guys know what you should or shouldn't do to make sure that you guys are winning in your guys' leagues. And I think that's a very important part about the show because, you guys can take all the advice that we give, but if it's not working, that would be terrible. So everyone that's been hitting us up on Twitter and hitting us up on this show throughout the time that we've been doing it, they've really been loving the feedback. So it's been a lot of fun doing a lot of these shows. And as I see Jake is back, and Jake, I think we actually have some questions down the live chat if you want to get down into that.
Yeah. Fun story before we jump to those questions. I've been talking to myself without noticing it while you had to take over after those technical duties. So that was really fun. Just asking you questions and hearing nothing back. I thought you were mad at me, Vince. So let's dive on in. We've got our first question in from Miguel de Guzman. He asks, Vince, he was offered Lawson for Will Barton. What do you think?
I'd take Will Barton. Depending on the size of your league. Ty Lawson, he's already coming off the bench. He had a pretty nice night tonight. I'm not a huge Ty Lawson guy, though, for fantasy or reality for the Sacramento Kings. I think he needs to be in the starting role to be really at a standard league level. But Miguel, I know you've been in the chat before. Welcome back to the show, and thanks for joining us. But I think I'm going to need a little bit more context of like what type of league you're actually in for me to be able to answer if that's a good deal or not. But I will say this, player hands down. So I'll say that too, is that I think Ty Lawson can go sit on waivers.
Yeah, I think you hit it. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? He had a good night for him tonight, and it was still 12 points, 3 assists, 3 steals. So, like, hardly something to write home about. Before we get to the next question, Vince, is there any league where you really are interested in Lawson over Barton? Because that part of your answer stood out to me.
No, I just kind of wanted to build up the effect of seeing like, hey, I'm in this type of league. You know, assists are a very big priority to me. I look at it, if like assists were like the main key to your fantasy league and you needed it, and you needed 4 assists a night from Ty Lawson, I'd say go get it. But I think Will Barton has the potential of getting that for you on any given night. So.
For sure. Moving on, we've got Chang Lambs. Sorry if I butchered your name, man. Thank you for writing in. Thank you for joining us here tonight. He asks, Vince, Lamb, Lure, or Markieff Morris? Who you taking?
Markieff Morris just made me lose money today on FanDuel, so don't like that. Jeremy Lamb, I'll say this too. With Jeremy Lamb, he's going to be our promo code tonight. If you guys use promo code Jeremy Lamb, all one word, you actually get $10 off of the premium membership for the season-long membership. So go ahead and go do that right after today's show. Go type in Jeremy Lamb. You'll get the season-long membership, which normally is $29.99, where you can continue watching these shows Monday through Friday on Fantasy NBA Tonight, joining myself, Jake Cousins, and whoever else that we have here that are experts joining the show. You guys can join in and talk to us and do these live questions like we're doing right now. But I like Jeremy Lamb. I think as long as he's getting the minutes, he can be productive. But John Lure's been the consistent player. John Lure has been the guy that's been, close to getting a double-double every time he's on the floor and getting the minutes. I hate watching John Lure. I'm a John Lure guy. If I had more enthusiasm and didn't feel this way right now, I probably would be a little bit more energetic about my answer. But I'm going John Lure over all those guys. And it's tough because I really like Markieff Morris. I think Markieff Morris has the higher upside. And I think if he's there, you probably have to take him over John Lure. But Markieff, first off, if you're watching this show, thanks for the dud. Secondly, he's a talented guy, man. I really like Markieff Morris. But I'm going to lean towards John Lure just because no, you got to pick up Markieff. You got to pick up Markieff. The talent's too high. I switched my answer last second. Markieff Morris, go.
I'm glad you came around. I know that you're hurt, Vince. I know that you're sick, and then on top of that, Markieff really hurt you tonight. But I don't think there's any way that you can leave him sitting on waiver wire. So he's the guy I'd rather pick up too. Just the upside's too high. Miguel wrote back about his Lawson trade, already accepted. Nice job, Miguel. Moving over, we've got a 2-part question from John. John, thanks for writing in. I'm going to read you both parts at once, Vince. John's in a 10-team, 9-cat head-to-head league. He has Rubio, Ryan Anderson, and Covington as his 3 worst players. He's thinking about dropping one of them to begin playing the waiver wires. Thoughts? Before you answer, though, Nikola Jokic is available on his waivers. Does he pick up Jokic, and who does he drop out of Rubio, Anderson, and Covington to pick him up?
You know what? I'm going to toss this one over to you to see what you answer first and see if we're thinking the same exact way tonight.
All right, let's see. You absolutely have to pick up Jokic. I know he's been so frustrating. I know that it's been just a roller coaster in the worst possible way so far this season, but you got to pick him up. For me, I know it's tempting to think about dropping Ryan Anderson, but I'm dropping Covington. I've talked on this show before about how much I love his upside, but he can't, the dude couldn't throw a pebble in the ocean right now. And I know he had a good night shooting tonight, but it's just way too up and down. I'm letting Bob Cove go because you're getting all that upside back and so much more with Jokic.
We're thinking the exact same. I was looking at Ryan. That was the tempting name, right? Like, Ryan Anderson, he's been bad. But yeah, you're looking at Covington. You're looking at that shooting. You're like, yeah, go. And honestly, I'm even looking at Rubio, and I'm like, man, your shooting's been terrible too. They're not really using you that well in Minnesota. You have to consider it, right? I mean, he really is that worst guy, but he's a top 40 player in 8-cat leagues. I believe he was a top 60 player in 9-cat leagues last season. I do believe he's probably going to get moved. So, I mean, you're looking at that. You're like, you can't let that go. You can't you can't let certain talent be sitting on your wire. And Jokic is a player that should not be sitting on your wire either. So I'm looking at Covington, and he's going to be a guy that upside is there for being a player that shouldn't be on your wire. He's a guy right now that's going to be on and off of it until he can find a way to start knocking down shots consistently. So I'm dropping Robert Covington, and I'm definitely 100% going to pick up Jokic if he's sitting out there right now.
For sure. Tom Adamson. Sorry, Tom. Tom Adamson. Thanks for writing in, man. He writes, "Hi, Vince and Jake. Love your work." Aw, thank you. Tom's in a 10-team 9-cat league. He says, "What do I do with Aaron Gordon?" I'm guessing it's a hold. Vince?
First off, thanks so much. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the love. What do you do with Aaron Gordon? I think, one, you have to hold. I think there's still going to be a big man to be moved. You are at the point of the season, though, where a lot of these weeks start mattering. Really think about it because it's still kind of the beginning of the year. It's like week, 4 in most fantasy leagues, week 5. So you're only a month into the season, but you're already closing in on December, heading into January. The closer you get to December, that means you're really looking at that second half of the season where you start to get a little bit more worried about what it is that your team should be looking like. So you want to have a good, or idea of what your team is going to be. And I think with Aaron Gordon, if he's just sitting there and you're willing to hold on to him, I think the upside is definitely there for him to be owned. But I'd be looking at other options as well. I think if there's other talent on your wire, let's say, like a Jokic for some reason got dropped, or a Wilson Chandler who's been going off. If those guys are available, you might want to look at them, and you might want to drop Aaron Gordon for him. I'll just say this though, I really like Aaron Gordon's upside. If he gets the minutes, it just doesn't look like it could be in Orlando this year. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, whichever one you do, because you can drop him, someone could pick him up, and he can be, a top 100, top 80 talent by the end of the season, and potentially even moving into the top 75. So, those are things you have to consider. I do think Aaron Gordon is worth the hold, but I understand if you're willing to drop him. And I know that's not the greatest answer, but again, I see the realities of both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Nope, he's gone again. I hit the nail on the head, though. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. This one's from Yuha. Yuha, what's going up, buddy? Thanks for joining the show. It says, any love for DJA? I'm guessing that is D'Angelo Russell. I don't know who DJA is. Maybe I can look this up. DJ Augustine. Ha, figured it out. Maybe a short-term pickup for this week. 9-cat head-to-head. I'm guessing that's DJ Augustine. And I'm hoping I'm right because I want to sound cool. Let's see here. I'm pulling up DJ Augustine's basketball monster numbers and to see how he's been doing when given minutes. And by the way, you guys, and I know we're not affiliated with him at all, but Basketball Monster, you guys definitely want to start using that for when you guys are doing your analysis and when you guys are looking up on your teams, because their numbers and that they run and the numbers that are there, the analytics that are there, truly help you. And I'll get to the DJ Augustine question as soon as I can get Jake back on the horn here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. And it says, John says, but guys, Malone is not giving him the minutes. He's already made it clear to not accept them the same level of production as last year from Jokic. So what are you guys betting on for Jokic to produce? I mean, you can look at what he's been doing, over the last couple of games, and you've seen, sprinkles of what Jokic could be. And I think that's what you're banking on, is seeing that potential finally flourish with the minutes. And Nikola Jokic is a guy that you have to look at with I guess with a certain type of expectation, but also knowing that the upside is definitely there. There was hype around his name for a reason, and I don't think he's going to turn out to be. And AB, if you're watching this, I'm sorry to bring it up to you. I don't think he's going to be the Myers Leonard of this year. You know what I mean? Myers Leonard was the player last year that was getting a little bit of hype, but this year I don't think it's going to be that for Jokic. I mean, over his last 4 games, he's been a top 70, 75 guy which is very good from where he is right now, is just outside the top 120. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. And then even over his last 7 games where he's only getting 24 minutes, he's still been a top 85, top 90 guy. So what you're seeing on the floor, the fact that he still looks good, he's running the floor well, he's getting out to the perimeter, knocking down 3-point shots. He gives you the across-the-board production that you want. And I think that that's only going to continue to grow once guys like Faried and Wilson Chandler potentially find new homes, because honestly, what I think they're doing in Denver right now is truly showcasing Wilson Chandler and Kenneth Faried to a team like Cleveland that can potentially use them, to a team like Toronto that can potentially use those type of talents. So I'm not worried about Jokic at all. I think if he's out there, he's 100% needed to be picked up. And that's why you hear guys like Aaron Brewski, myself, Jake, that you guys can throw us all of your Jokic trades, like Aaron Gordon for Nikola Jokic. I would do that deal in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Or Nikola Jokic for and Danilo Gallinari. I mean, what would you do? I'd probably go with Jokic still. So that's kind of what you're banking on. You're banking on the fact that you see his game on the floor. You see what he can do in his limited minutes, and it's just a matter of time until you can start seeing the true production be unveiled once somebody gets moved. So I'm not worried about it at all. I don't think you should be. I think if he's out there, you definitely need to go pick him up. Jake, welcome back.
For sure. I mean, I was talking too when it froze up, so it'll be fun with the audio to see which of our Jokic answers really makes it to the iTunes version of the pod. I'm sure it'll be yours. I don't have a lot to add to what you're already saying, right? Like I know what Malone said. I think they're going to clear up that space for Jokic, and you just have to sit tight. Going back a little in our questions, Vince, Yuha writes in, any love for DJA? Maybe a short-term pickup for this week? 9-cat, 12-team head-to-head.
Glad you brought that question up, because when you were gone, I asked that question out loud, and I was like, you know what?
Great.
I need to see, how good this guy has actually been. And so that's kind of what I'm looking up right now. I think there's different options out there for you. I'm not a huge fan of DJ Augustin. I think that if you're looking for a short-term play somewhere, I think you can definitely find it somewhere else. Again, a guy like Wilson Chandler. Who I really like, and this is going to be a complete ballpark. Like, you probably would never even guess that I'd be thinking of this player. So I'll see if you're thinking of this player that I'm thinking of for a second. But if you're looking for a short end point guard that gets right around 20 minutes a night, I'm looking at a guy like, or until this team gets fully healthy, a guy that you should look at that's an older point guard is Jameer Nelson, who's been playing very well for the Denver Nuggets. So I just think there's better options out there than DJ Augustin. So I have any love for him. Sorry. I like the initials though. DJA is all right because it kind of got me for a loop. But no DJA love over here.
You stole the name right from my mouth. I was going to point out Jameer Nelson too. I'm with you. I'm not a big DJA guy. I just don't think Augustine gives you enough in steals and in threes to really justify even a low end spot like that. And at least Nelson's a guy who can really get hot from deep while doing pretty much everything else Augustine does as well. So I think there are probably better options out there unless you're in just the deepest of leagues. Vince, any other questions you hit while I was potentially absent? Or are we good to just keep going down the list?
Keep, sir. I'm going to try to get to Basketball Monster on my actual computer and not on my phone while I still can.
Cool. So let's move on down. We've got Chang Lam who writes in 11-team Roto 9-cat. He wants to know Matthews, Terrence Jones, Powell, Cody Zeller, Danny Green, Jay Richardson, stay put or drop one of the above for Lamb and or Harkless.
See, Lamb is going to get a lot of hype because of the numbers that he's putting up right now. And trust me, I like Jeremy Lamb. I think he's a sleeper pick. He was one of our big sleeper picks of the year. If you go back and check it out in the Brewski 150, for those who didn't purchase it. I mean, this is why, consider ourselves one of the best in fantasy because we can get some of these predictions by having a guy like Aaron Bruschi, who runs the site and is the founder of the site that's there with us every step of the way. I mean, and doing his minutes, and you understand why Jeremy Lamb has hype right now, especially after what he did tonight too, and that 17 rebounding night just the day before. But only person I would consider dropping off of that list is Wes Matthews. And looking at Mo Harkless before I'm looking at Jeremy Lamb. Just because Jeremy Lamb is also a very injury-prone player. This dude stubs a toe, and he can be out for like 2 weeks. And that's the one thing that scares me about him. But the guy can rebound, as we saw. He can knock down three-point shots. He's pretty aggressive defensively, or at least in the passing lanes. I don't know about as good of a real defender that he is. But, I mean, while he's hot, fully understand it. Wes Matthews in a roto league should definitely be looked at getting dropped. That field goal percentage is terrible, and the 3-pointers, while they're there, I mean, if he's almost tanking you in field goal percentage just as bad as Robert Covington is. So in a roto league, I would consider dropping Wes Matthews.
It's a bold call. I think I like it. I also am not so attached to Cody Zeller that I think you absolutely have to hold on to him if you're just looking for a different set of stats. I'd still rather have him than Lamb or Harkless, but I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world to cut him go. I agree with you that I like Harkless more than Lamb if you're pulling the trigger on one, but I think I'd stand pat if I were you. All right, Jason Dares writes in, "Hey guys, first time checking out the show." Thank you for joining us, Jason. We're really excited to have you. He says, "What are your thoughts on Ersan Ilyasova? He's been solid since joining Philly. Can he maintain this level for the rest of the season?" What do you think, Vince?
I prefer that over to you because you are a Sarge lover.
It's getting tough. I am still a Sarge lover, but there's been no doubt that Ghostface Ilya has been more of an impact player for Philly. You see Sark at one more minute than him tonight, but Ilyasova is starting. He's hitting his shots. And if I'm not mistaken, he actually had a pretty good game tonight. Yeah, I mean, solid, right? 11 points and 6 boards and a 3. So he's playing well. I think, he fits into the way that Brett Brown wants to space the floor around his big men. And I think he's clearly ahead of Sark in the rotation right now. I think I'd rather have Sark long term more than Ilyasova, but if you're looking for a guy from the power forward spot who can get you some threes, I think Ilyasova is a fine pickup right now.
I think Ilyasova is going to bring you top 100 value. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to buy into he holds that all season long, though. I mean, you got to remember, Ben Simmons is going to be returning soon. You got to understand that Dario Saric is going to be a key player moving forward in the season. I think what Ersan Ilyasova does, though, is he does open the floor for Joel Embiid, and he's that veteran leader on the floor right now. But you get guys like Jared Bayless back. You get Gerald Henderson, who's starting to pick it up. You have Nick Stauskas starting to play a little bit better. Once Dario comes into play, and you watch him play, he actually looks better on the floor, to be honest with you. And I haven't been on the Sarge train all season long. You guys know that about me. I've been very hesitant on that. But I do see the potential, and I do see the hype around it. And he's actually played well as of late. Maybe not statistically, but just if you watch him on the floor, he doesn't look lost. He doesn't look like he shouldn't be out there. He just doesn't look like he has NBA legs yet. And I think that'll come as the season continues. And again, I think you got to remember that Ben Simmons is coming. Nerlens Noel is coming back. I think he right now he's at just inside the top 100. You can potentially sell high on him. But just my overall thoughts on Ersan Ilyasova, I think he's still a short-term pickup for now.
Yeah. Jason also writes in, "Do you think Devin Booker will improve his field goal percentage and come close to returning the 5th round value I paid for him? Right now, Devin Booker is returning 11th round value, 130th overall. Vince, do you think he gets back to that 5th round range that a lot of people expected?"
I got him in the 6th, so I'm kind of like right there with you. And I got him in the beginning of the 6th round. And so I'm right there with you. He's killing me. There, though, that Phoenix team is terrible. It's more terrible than the way Charles Barkley says the word terrible. It is terrible, terrible, terrible. That team is bad. But, the reason why they're bad is just because they have a lot of young players, and they're gonna have to start playing their young players. And I think Devin Booker, what you've seen right now with Devin Booker is that they have given him as many shots as he can handle the floor and looks for Devin Booker to shoot. Like that's why Eric Bledsoe hasn't had too many crazy lines that a lot of people were hoping. I mean, he's had it as of late, but I mean, with Devin Booker, I think you're going to start seeing the stats defensively come back up. I think you'll start seeing the 3-pointers get knocked down a bit more consistently. Again, it's the tired and the sick brain. It's really hurting my talking today. But yeah, I'm not worried about it. I do think he'll be back up to the level of where you draft him around his ADP. I'm hoping he at least gets to the 6th round, which I think you would be just fine with as well. But yeah, I'm not worried about it just yet. Again, what we say is worrisome for league-wise that it's week 4 of the season. It's like, it's week 4 of the season of your fantasy leagues. You want to start shaping up your teams. With the NBA player, it's 4 weeks into a long 82-game season, and I don't know if I'd be too worried on a young guy like Devin Booker.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially when we're talking about, his field goal percentage being such a drag on his value, right?
Did I lose you again? I think I might have lost him again. Let's look over here. Yep, we lost him again. So you know what? I'm going on to the next question. Hopefully you guys are liking this video still with a little bit of technical difficulties. Please do us a huge favor while you're here on this show and hit that thumbs up button so that you guys know, so that we know that you guys, 1, enjoy the show, and 2, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. Join us here on Fantasy NBA Today when we do the show with myself and Dan Besbris. We host the shows, and we make sure that we get a lot of your guys' fan questions answered, as well as giving the initial reactions to a lot of these games. So again, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button so that we know that you guys liked and enjoyed this show. And if you guys are watching this after the show is done, go down in the comment section and start posting some questions in there. If we don't answer it on today's show, it could be on Thursday's show when we do it live with myself and Dan Besbris. It could be on a Saturday night show where we do it randomly. You never really know. Again, guys, go ahead and do that for us. Like, subscribe. Go to hoop-ball.com and bookmark the site as well, because this is Fantasy NBA Tonight, a hoop-ball.com presentation. And what we're doing here on the show is answering all of your fantasy basketball questions. And my host is back. What's up, Jake? Welcome back again.
What is going on? John writes in the bottom of the chat, get it together, guys. It's all on my end, John. I don't know what the deal is. Sorry, everyone. Let's dive back into some questions. Who we talked about later, adding Jeremy Lamb, mentions that he's got 3 different Hornets on his team, and that if he adds Lamb, he's going to be up to 4 players from the same team. In general, Vince, do you have a problem in a Roto League having that many players from one NBA squad on your fantasy team?
I kind of just and we get this question a lot, actually, and I think it's going to be a question we continue to get all season long is how many players from the same team should be on my team. I really don't think it matters as long as you're looking at the schedule and what they look like at the end of the playoffs. And if these guys are productive, I mean, would you be mad if you had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant all in the same lineup? I mean, or Draymond Green. I don't think you'd be that irritated, right? You're looking at these guys. It's like Batum. He's a must-own player. Cody Zeller. I mean, but I do believe he should be owned in most leagues. And you got MKG, the defensive stat guy. I mean, his defensive stats have been there. He's worthy of an ad. He's worthy of being on your team. So, I mean, Jeremy Lamb, again, while I don't think he's a must-add player, and I think he's more of a flyer pickup, especially in a Roto League. But if those players have a nice 4-game schedule all the way through your playoffs, you don't want to let that go for nothing. So I mean, I'm not really worried about having too many players at the same time. You get to 6 discussion, but I mean with 4, I'm not too bad.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, and I think the big time it becomes an issue or could become an issue is in head-to-head leagues. If you just have one of those brutal weeks where a team only plays twice or plays 3 times when everyone else is playing 4 or 5, like that can hurt you some. But like Vince said, if everyone else on that list is a must-own player, I wouldn't overthink it. Maybe as a tiebreaker on the low end with a guy like Lamb, fine. But other than that, I'm not panicking. John writes in again, Vince, any players that you guys think are great buy lows right now?
That's such a broad question. Low targets. Do you have any off the top of your head?
I mean, we've mentioned two of them, right? Jokic and Booker. If we think both of them are going to get back into that mid to upper mid round value, and they're both performing as 11th round picks right now, and we've seen people in chat really worried about it. I think both of those guys are kind of nice buy lows. Anyone else really jump off the page to you?
Man, I think Klay Thompson can still be considered a buy low target, although he's been picking it up a little bit. And I mean, Jokic is really that big one that you already brought up. I really don't know. I don't really think there is one. I mean, I think you can go after like low end names that no one's really talking about that have been playing really well this season when they're playing. I think you can buy low on guys like Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. I think those are players that they're not getting enough love from a lot of the fantasy sites and a lot of the big box sites. The reason why is because they're not doing anything extraordinary, but they're playing well, and Mike Conley's been playing very well, but he's not getting all the love and attention for it, and that's normally been his MO for his career. But I think you can definitely look at those type of players and say, you know what, I can buy low on a guy like Mike Conley. I don't know how low you can buy low on that type of player because he's still putting up productive numbers, but I think I do think that carries weight during trade negotiations. And you and I, we've acted out trades before. So, I mean, if I'm calling you with like a decent offer for Mike Conley, this guy has to be, one, really looking at his numbers, really looking at his basketball monster numbers. And you can look at a guy like Derrick Rose, who I consider a sell high candidate right now, who's been just great, and the name carries weight. I mean, he's owned because his name carries weight when Derrick Rose really shouldn't probably be owned in standard leagues. So like a Derrick Rose package with you to a guy like Mike Conley and sell high on something like that. So I think that those are things you have to definitely look at right now. Also, good sell high candidate, George Hill.
Oh yeah. I totally agree with you on Rose. I'd sell him for peanuts. Hill's not going to perform this well with Hayward back. How's this for another buy low candidate? I think Darren Collison, because we still see Lawson kind of in the mix and Lawson's name is bandied about a bunch and Collison didn't start right away. Do you think there's still some value to be had on Collison at this point? Or do you think his owner's probably wise to how valuable he is?
No, this is a good buy low moment for Collison because he's probably had, 3-4 games now? I think this is game 3 as the team starter. Stepped up in that way, and he's been getting the minutes, but he hasn't really stepped up to that next level yet. He's still been the team scorer. The facilitating's been hit or miss. I think that's a great name. I think he's a player that you can definitely buy low on because I think what he brings to your team would be like a 6-round value type of player.
Yep, totally agree. Moving on down, quick trade question. Hopefully it doesn't involve any acting. R4D1CowX asks, thoughts on this trade? 12-team head-to-head Cats, Ibaka for Drew and Ryan Anderson. Who wins?
You won. If you got Drew Holiday and Ryan Anderson for Serge Ibaka, you're the man. Or the woman, I don't know, but yep. You are the boss.
Absolutely. Like, I have no interest in Serge Ibaka this year. Drew maybe could have been someone we mentioned on the buy low section just a minute ago, although his owner's probably excited that he's finally back. But Holiday has so much upside. Just getting Holiday for Ibaka straight up would have been a steal. So that you got Ryan Anderson thrown in there certainly doesn't hurt.
Myself on the back for something real quick, and you can do it for me through the camera as well. Did I not tell you that Tim Frazier was still going to have a role with this team even when Drew Holiday returned? This dude's still putting up numbers. He's still a standard league player. I told you guys, don't let him go. As soon as Drew Holiday was there, I saw him got let go in a couple of my leagues. I was like, I'm going to let him test the waters a little bit. He's not going to ruin him. I mean, Etuan Moore is playing. Tim Frazier can play. They're all like the same exact size. So I'm really happy that Tim Frazier is working out. But yeah, Drew Holiday. board production. If you're worried about injury risk, Serge Ibaka is an injury risk. How good is that knee? We don't really know. He's not the Serge Ibaka of old. He's been playing better. He's been playing well. We all admit that. It's been nice to see, but he hasn't been consistent. He's a shooting guard in a power forward's body. That's what he is now. We all have to be honest about it, and I'm really worried about the second half of the season for that knee and for Serge Ibaka and for that Orlando team as a whole. That team, I don't know. That team is terrible. That team is trash. I'm sorry. I'm being honest. That team is gross. I don't know what they're doing over there. Bilo and Vucevic too. Vucevic isn't getting any love.
Yeah, and he's likely going to he's the most likely to get out of that situation too, which is great. Moving on, there are a couple of people who really who've asked several times what's behind you. I don't know if they're talking to me or you, Vince. So if people specify, I guess look out. Make sure there's no one lurking.
You, because like with me, what's behind me right now? I'm just gonna answer y'all straight up. I got my new table. I got my whiteboard back there. That's a clear whiteboard. The picture over there is the one that my wife made. Into that, you have my kitchen with my daughter's picture that she made me for Father's Day. You know, I got a family tree out here in my living room / kitchen thing. Yeah,
looks good.
So that's me.
I mean,
it has to be you because I want to know what that dinosaur looking thing is up there. I want to know what your cartoon character thing is on the middle shelf, and I want to know why there's a Broncos thing behind you.
Man, we could do a tour. Up top, the dinosaur looking thing. That's actually a stuffed animal of Horton Hears a Who. My wife's a kindergarten teacher, so that's hers. All the comic book stuff up and down here is just like random figurines that my wife and I give each other. And the Broncos sign is because I live in Denver and because I'm a Broncos fan. And don't know if you know this, Vince, they did win the Super Bowl last year. So, yeah, the Chiefs got them last night. But I'm going to be holding on to that sign.
Did Green Bay win? That's my team. That's my most random team.
They were up when I sat down to look over stuff for tonight. So I bet they held on. I'm looking in the chat board right now. People were really wondering what was behind one of us. I would love to know who they were talking to. I'm worried there was someone or something lurking on. You know what I mean? Like just something we didn't account for that's sneaking up on us.
I mean, I've always wondered what that big old elephant thing is up there. Like I thought it was a dinosaur. I'm glad it was Horton Hears a Who.
I could bring him down and do the podcast with him. You know what I mean? Just have him hang out with me.
Only if you can do it.
Not a voice acting talent, unfortunately. Green Bay did win 27-13 over Philly, Vince. Just in case you're looking good. All right. Back to we'll end the MTV Cribs portion of the podcast, and let's Vince, let's go rapid fire. See how many of these questions we can do before we have to sign out for the night. John, very open ended. John's been the MVP of this chat though tonight, all over the place. Him and Jason. John asked, Nerlens Noel? ? What are your expectations for Noel when he comes back?
I expect him to be traded.
And then.
No, man. I mean, I really do expect Nerlens Noel to be the guy who's going to get moved. I think you see the reason why he's going to get moved. Jahlil Okafor is starting to play better. That's the only reason why he's going to stay. And the fact that Joel Embiid's already right there blocking shots, the pairing of be interesting to see an Embiid and Noel pairing. It just doesn't fit. So I do think that he's going to be the guy to get moved. There's reports now that Nerlens Noel is going to be the guy that gets moved, and I do think it's going to be to a team like I brought them up earlier. I think it's going to be a team like Toronto. I think it's going to be a team like Cleveland that can use an energizer guy off their bench or in their starting unit. Toronto. But yeah, I don't know what to expect unless I know exactly what situation he'll be in. If I'm going to say he's staying in Philly, I'm not expecting a lot. I'm not expecting the same numbers that it was before. If I expect to move to Toronto, I'm looking at a guy that I don't think he's going to be a huge part of their offense. I think he's going to be a Tristan Thompson type of player. Then I think with better blocks. So I think that's something that you can definitely look at. And can I just say a different guy that I hope continues to get minutes? # free John Henson. There you go.
Oh yeah. totally with you on Henson, and you're right on a Noel that it's the range of outcomes is just huge, right? If he stays in Philly or he gets dealt to a team that really only needs him for, 12 to 18 minutes a night, that really impacts his value. If he's Tristan Thompson with great defense for Toronto, he could be a really valuable fantasy asset. If you're stashing Noel and you've already figured out how to make that fit on your bench, I don't think you can do anything but hold him right now and just kind of hope for the best. All right. Moving on, Jason has a trade question for us. He says, speaking of Surge, dealt Ibaka and Lillard for Kemba and LaMarcus Aldridge in a 10-team standard league. I just really wanted Kemba. Thoughts?
I think you got the better players. I mean, Lillard's probably going to finish higher than Kemba Walker, although a lot of people don't believe that. Honestly, I think they're probably going to finish around the same exact point. I don't think Kemba Walker is going to be a first-round player like he is right now, but I do think is way better than Serge Ibaka, and that's what's winning me that deal right now. So that I think that's a deal that you won if you got Aldridge and Walker. I think that's a smart deal.
Yeah, in general for me it's tough to agree to deals where I'm not getting who I think is the best player, and even though I love Kemba, I do think Lillard's the better player for fantasy purposes. I know Kemba's been better so far, but I think you're right. The gap between Kemba and Lillard is so small, and the gap between Aldridge and Ibaka is pretty substantial at this point that I'm doing that deal. I like it. Moving on down, Yuha asks again, do you expect Embiid to start playing in back-to-back games this year?
Probably after the All-Star break.
Yeah, that'd be my guess too. Obviously, not a doctor and don't have any inside team info, but that sounds about right.
I know that after the All-Star break, they're going to be probably even in January, they're going to start ramping it up to right around 28 minutes.
Yeah, and even that little bump will make a big deal.
I read that. I should say I read that somewhere. I don't have any sources, guys. I should say that. I should put the preference around that because it sounded like in that sentence that I had a source. I read that somewhere that in January they're going to start ramping his minutes up to 28 minutes. So I should be honest with you.
Cool. Oh, Dan, fellow hoopball writer, shout out, said he would love Noel in Toronto. I think even as a neutral party, I would like to see that. So I'm with you, man.
You know what I think he'd love more?
What's that?
Beating me last week in our Fantrax league. He took the L. Sorry. This guy.
Sorry, fellow hoopball writers. As the host, I tried to make it 1 week without Vince getting to gloat about how well he's doing in the hoopball league, but he snuck it in there on me.
Yeah, even though my hoopball league's crappy right now.
Let's backtrack for a second, Vince. A little bit ago, John asked if we could elaborate. We sort of both said George Hill was probably a sell high at this point. And John says that Hayward has been back for some time and George Hill is still playing great. Why do you still think he's a sell high?
As of right now, I believe he's still putting up second round value. I just don't see second round value with that team with Derek Favors finally being healthy as around. Oh, it's first round value?
Yeah, he's 11th overall right now in standard leagues. Crazy.
Yeah, I just don't see that sustaining. While I do like George Hill, I do like what he brings. You've seen what Dante Exum can do. You've seen what Gordon Hayward can do with the ball. You've seen what Rodney Hood can do with the ball. Once Derek Favors is back, he's going to be getting touches. I mean, there's so many people that's going to need the ball in his hands, and why I think George Hill is the perfect point guard there. And it's not like I don't think he's going to probably be a top 40 to 50 player. I'm not saying that at all. I think he's going to play well all season. I just don't think first round value is what you're expecting. So if you are all season, so if you're looking for a good sell high candidate, I think that's a good player. I think Kemba Walker is a good sell high candidate. The dude's putting up first round value on the season right now. I think he falls to the second. And that's why we've had this discussion before. We've talked about this on a live show that was free. So you guys can definitely scroll back down and try and find whatever show that was. And I believe it was with me and you on the show when we did our acting lesson. So if not, premium users, you guys know what we're talking about. So yeah, I just think that that you can't expect first round value from George Hill. There's just too many good players. But if you can throw that, this guy's the 11th best player in fantasy right now. You can't beat that. Here's this guy with somebody else. Give me Draymond Green. That'd be worth it to me.
Yep. I think everything you said really speaks to, exactly what we've been saying. It's not that we don't like George Hill. It's not that we don't think he's going to continue to play well. But if you could steal, any of these underperforming players like a Hassan Whiteside, like a John Wall, not even underperforming, but just, aren't as high on the player radar right now. I think that there's some real value to be had there. So if you can sneak any of those guys for George Hill, you got to take it and run with it. All right, Vince, we are out of questions. So I'm going to kick it over to you for any final thoughts on either tonight's slate of games or on where we are after a month of NBA action so far.
Well, just to let you guys know that we are in the or working on producing a daily fantasy show, free, and it'll be here on this YouTube channel. I've been pretty successful with DFS in my short-term career with it. We have guys that are working day and night with these numbers that I don't even understand. And like Schifferly and Brett, who's just been amazing on DraftKings. I mean, I won a PS4 this year. I play every single day. So that's going to be something that we're working on and we're developing right now at HB headquarters, coming out here fairly shortly. I would say probably in the middle of December, and if anything, the first of the new year. So look out for that. Follow me on Twitter at VM Center. Again, guys, do us a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button here on tonight's show. Hit that subscribe button to this YouTube channel. We love to hear the feedback. Tweet at us, and also always remember this: Abyss also gazes.
That's me on Twitter, folks. I'm at Abyss also gazes. Hit us up with any questions throughout the week. We'd love to answer them. We'll be back next week for our in-season premium subscribers. So make sure you're hitting that up. Vince, one more time, what was our promo code for that this evening?
Oh, yes. So if you guys want to get it cheap all the way until Wednesday, if you use promo code one word, Jeremy Lamb, you will be able to get the season premium membership, full season premium membership, where you can watch this show, Fantasy NBA Tonight, for free, Monday through Friday. You guys just have to type in Jeremy Lamb for a $10 discount at $19.99. So I guess for free would kind of been wrong, but joining us every single day, Monday through Friday, whether it be myself hosting, whether it be Jake, whether it be any of the guys that we have coming along here that are that have been moving up the ranks, and a lot of our experts are ready to be here on these podcasts. Friday, 2 Fridays ago, I went international with it, and we had a guy from the Philippines and Eric Ong, and we had a guy in New Zealand and Jake Fitzgibbon joining us on that show, and it's really good to see happening and their mindsets on it. Like, Jake, I love joining you, getting the thoughts on what you have on it. And a lot of us are the same. A lot of us differ on a lot of different things. So that's why we love having these discussions. That's why we want to make sure we're giving you guys all the right answers. So again, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and also follow us on Twitter. Hoop-ball.com is the site. Bookmark that as well.
Awesome. We're going to give John the last word of the podcast for tonight, team. Thank you all so much for joining us. John writes, "Don't let this podcast distract you from the fact that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead." Vince, have a good night.
Because I have to push the button.